Hello.
Take two. Welcome to that was the weakest drop. That's pathetic. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Burgio, Mark Novak, here to talk about: are you paying too much? Is renting a property these days double what it could be? Mark, run us through it.
The figures are scary. The figures are scary. Huh?
The figures are in. You sent an email to the team yesterday. You got an email from a broker or Westpac with 4 banks. I'm going to bring it up now. Talk us through it.
Banks are dropping cash for you to come on board. I've never seen that before. They'll give you a wad, $3,000. I've seen that. That was the one yesterday. I've seen even more figures being thrown around. But as a first home buyer, if you are renting at the moment, it's quite staggering how much more you would be paying as opposed to owning that actual property. And we're going to do some low-level numbers just to show everyone why they should get into property, own a property today in such a low interest rate environment.
Yeah, so g'day, Philip. How are you? And I'd be interested to know, Philip, if you could yell out some of, type out what the figures are in UK. What interest do you pay? Are you similar? I'd love to sort of know the difference. Alrighty, so let's have a look. Obviously, if you're renting and you need a deposit or you need someone who owns a property. You sort of need to tick those boxes. But there are a lot of people out there that do tick those boxes and are just sitting on the fence. And up until now, you've been able to sit on the fence because you've had the argument, oh, well, I'm renting, it's cheaper, and if it goes up in a few years, whatever. I'm talking about as of today, it's cheaper for me to rent because my mortgage will cost more. Yes, I would have more growth I'll have growth in the future. I don't care. I'm living in the moment and I want more money in my pocket. Well, you know what? Those tables have turned. Even if you don't see the long path or believe in the long vision of property, now it's cheaper to own. So what do you want to do? Talk us through these numbers. You can see the screen, Mark. You've got Westpac.
Okay.
Me.
Yep. So you can see that all the cats out there are doing 2.19. They're doing 2.58. They're doing 2.69. Two of those are the majors out there, but there's some good lending out there at the moment. Now, when you overlay, so for anyone who doesn't know, an interest rate is the price you're paying for the bank giving you money. So the bank's going to give you the money to get you into the property, as opposed to you just paying your landlord. Now, I'm all up for both. We've got a wonderful rental business where we manage a lot of tenants, a lot of landlords, and there's different reasons people do different things. But at the moment, we're going to talk about not the benefits of renting a place, but the benefits of buying that place. So if we're looking at those numbers, Michael, can you show us a basic example? I think we're going to do the Palm Beach property.
Yes, we are. I have a screen.
Oh, look at you. What a show-off.
Prepared earlier.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So organised. So this is something, if you want to live in Palm Beach, we can put you into Palm Beach $575,000. Now,
surely
you're going to need a deposit, guys.
Let's have a look at it first. I said, but surely it must be a crap property if it's cheaper to rent. But no, let's have a look through.
I'm glad you've asked me, Michael. I'm glad you've asked. Yeah. No, it's not. And the priest
courtyard.
Cool. So look at it. Look at that. Again, if you're not from the area, Palm Beach not only sounds good when you say the two words together, it's northern beaches of Sydney. So from our CBD, it's probably an hour and 15 in a bus. Yep. But it is a beautiful peninsula. It has a thing called the Pittwater to one side, which is, I guess you could say it's a lake. And then on the other side is the beach. It is absolutely stunning from the sky where this is located in Sydney. So it's the area where the ultra wealthy play, a bit like the Hamptons for New Yorkers.
Yep.
Now this place here, Michael, how much deposit to buy something like this? Let's make it worst case scenario. Let's just say you're a worst case. You're right at the beginning and you're a first home buyer. how much deposit would one need to buy something like this?
Well, we know there's cases that it's minimum of 5%, but for maybe devil's advocate, maybe let's do 10% or even 20.
Do 5 because it's riskier.
5, okay. So if you're doing a 5% loan, so 575 times
30K?
28,000. Yeah, 20. So $29,000
Okay.
is your deposit.
Okay.
Then
okay. So if you've got a $28,000 deposit, and if you want to live in Palm Beach of Sydney, Australia, how much will the bank give you?
29,000. Well, the loan,
95%.
So the 95%. So your loan will be 546,000. No stamp duty because you're a first home buyer. No mortgage insurance. No stamp duty because you're a first home buyer.
What does that mean?
On all New South Wales property, basically all properties, there's a tax. It's called stamp duty. It's when you buy. It's generally valued at 4% of the purchase price. So at 575 would be $12,000 on top of the purchase price, on top of valuations, on top of legal fees. It's just on top. It's a tax. So
you're going to be paying about 20 to 25,000 for stamp duty if you buy this property. But if you're blessed to be a first home buyer, never bought a property before and claimed the grant, start from the top. You need 28 grand. The bank's going to give you the rest.
Luke's done it. 29K.
Stamp duty.
Yep.
He's the man. Okay. Now, how much, if I'm applying those interest rates that you just gave me at the beginning, say principal and interest, or sometimes people are doing interest only. Let's do 3% interest only. So let's go a bit higher than the 2.15 that we'll quote. Let's just say 3, and let's just say interest only, right? So 3% on 546 kids, 16 grand.
Yep, it is 16,380. We'll do it a per week figure. It's just easier. I think it's how most people think. That's $315 a week. It's going to cost you to buy the property. And now where we got our heading, it's cheaper to buy than rent. Have a look in the text here. Rented for $420.
No. How much?
420. Oh, trying to highlight that.
So there you go. So in some circumstances, we've been running these figures before we came on air. There was actually double. It was actually costing you half. This property is it's such a good investment property. It yields quite high. Houses, not the case. They're returning lower, so it's even more. Even more of a reason not to rent a house, but to buy a house when you run the numbers on the house. Okay, let's get off that off the screen.
Yeah.
And, finish off on.
Well, because we got a couple of minutes. I just wanted more just that ethos of why not to in that argument. I wouldn't mind playing sort of the devil's advocate here of why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you? And then sort of why wouldn't you use that 30 grand to secure a property? Maybe you may say it's not what I want to rent. Like, it's not where I want to live. I want a 2-bedroom apartment. I can't afford a 2-bedroom apartment. But then let's say that is the example, and it's a very valid, I hear it a lot. But if let's say you rent that out at $420 and you're making $100, $150 a week, the likelihood the 2-bedroom apartment that you're renting, you're paying more in rent than the mortgage. So at least by owning a property and getting more in rent than the mortgage, it will help subsidize that for you as well. So,
if I'm a first home buyer, does that mean I'm not allowed to rent it out for years and years and years and years?
You just got to live in it for the first 6 months or 6 months of the first 12 months.
So then I can just rent it out. So if I don't like it, the only reason you've got to do that is because you've claimed no stamp duty. So you have to show that you lived in it, right? But if you want to pay the stamp duty, do what you want. This goes on what our show was the other day, where you're preaching to the converted, but they just haven't done that first step. They haven't entered, as we use the analogy,
education course of property where Luke made the reference where it's not the timing of the market, it's the time in the market. Like, you've just got to take that first step, and you do better when you've got skin in the game. And what we're trying to get across here today is, regardless of market conditions, regardless of economic conditions, based on what it will cost you and what it costs to buy, because let's be frank, a lot of people don't care about the conditions if it doesn't affect them. It's one of those things. You always look at your own backyard first.
So if you've just tuned in, we're talking about that you could be paying up to half less when it's interest only on a mortgage rather than renting that exact same place. Half. Now, before we roll out, I want to say one other thing. In these figures that we've just presented to everyone very quickly, they were kindergarten figures. They were, and I'm sure.
Yes, it does go.
Just to give people an idea. Yep.
Yes.
Now, just to illustrate, we talked about cash flow today. We talked about money in, money out, end of the year, interest, rent versus all that stuff. But guys and girls, I want you to consider, if that property goes up at all, that is absolute cream for you if you live there. Our government doesn't charge tax if it's one property that you own, that you're a one property person. It's called no capital gains tax. So if you are there for 10 years and you are paying super low mortgage rates and the property values double, i.e. it goes from $575 to $1.15 million, that means you will make $575 cash in your pocket, zero tax, and it was cheaper than renting a property. Let me put this into perspective. You are renting for $500 a week now. You buy a property in Palm Beach. It will cost you less than renting that property that you're renting today. And if it does what it's done the last 50 to 100 years, by the time, add 10 years to your age, you may be 30. By the time you are 40, you'll have 500 to 600 cash in your pocket. If the market does what it's done the last 50 to 100 years, seriously.
You know what? I even look at it this way. Even if the market does nothing, in 30 years, the property we paid off, you'll be retiring and you got $500,000 there. It's a pretty good little nest egg, especially if it's rented and you haven't paid a cent for it. You put in 30 grand when you're 25, you retire at 55 and it's paid off and you sell it and that's your nest egg. Like, it's better than any super. Like, so.
Frozen your rent. You've frozen. Yeah. So what actually happens is rents will go up every year. So in 10 years' time, if you're paying $500 a week now, the odds are you're going to be paying $800 or $900 in 10 years' time. But your mortgage repayments will be less. If you don't do interest only and you do principal and interest, then that's going to happen. What you've just suggested, you're going to pay the puppy off.
Yeah. And shout out to Luke. I watched the vid of your story of the 7 kilometers, $1,000 of run. It's great what you've done. I'm considering doing a little challenge myself. I won't announce yet because I'm committed mentally, but I want to do something. I watched that and I was like, fuck, I got to do something. And I was like,
what did you watch?
I want to do something that way. After surgery, I've just had too many Skittles and I didn't know I could gain like 10 kilos from eating Skittles. So I did. If there was a Skittle challenge, I would have won. So I need to do something. And watching I want to do it. I won't announce
it's pretty impressive. It's very, very impressive. And also I just want to say that you've actually, it's because you've gotten fatter, like our faces look similar.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It sucks.
We're twinning, man. I don't like it. I'm older though. I'm the original.
Yep. The original fan there. Don't worry, it's not proud to be. Anyway, we'll do something.
I hope we helped everyone today. And certainly if you've got any friends or family that, if this is real estate 101, why you should not rent and why you should buy, some of the incentives that are out there, looking at the interest rates are out there. Now, if you are risk adverse and you just cannot sleep at night because you're worried about the banks putting these mortgages up, you can freeze these mortgages for quite cheap now, 3 years or 5 years. That's going to get you over a serious hump. 3 years or 5 years is a bloody long time. And the way Westpac's talking, they're saying there could be 15% gain by 2021. That means this property of 500-600 that you're buying is going to be up about 75 grand. You know, like it's good times, guys. If the banks are going to give you the money, get the money. And I understand it's hard times with COVID, and there's people that are challenged with employment, and I feel for them. But you know, the way we can help the economy and the way that we can help, you know, all work together is by spending. Believe it or not, it's by spending. Even if that spending's on yourself, it is still a positive thing for our economy because it keeps the blood flowing through the veins.
Yep, and Luke said Westpac's great predictions. I think that was like up 15% by 2021. Mark posted it. I think
he was on. And I've got to say, the Westpac analyst, the guy that always does these predictions, I've been watching him for over, I think it must be 10, 15 years now. He is always the most humble and the most accurate to my knowledge. I know the Commonwealth Bank guy, ANZ, all those guys, but that Westpac guy, I can't remember his name.
It's irrelevant. He posted good figures, so he's viable and it's simple. I just love, like, it's always, I love how people just use data. I love it. It just, he posted good. We love him. But it's true. And there was several that did it. But the cash return, I know a lot of people that hits home, having that cash return up or down, and now it's in your favor. If it lasts 10 years, 5 years, well, it is what it is. It's good while it lasts.
Take it with both hands. That's a show, guys. That's a show. Michael, thank you. Mark, thank you. Everybody, thank you. Love you.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
See you, mate. Bye.